Tyson Fury versus Dererk Chisora number 3. The fight that, let's face it, nobody wanted to see. I saw enough in the first two fights for me to know that Dererk Chisora is levels below Tyson Fury. Stylistically, it couldn't be a worse matchup between the two. You've got Chisora, who comes in trying to throw the big bomb from the outside, and you got Fury, which in the first two fights, in the first fight, sort of just kept his distance, stuck to his boxing fundamentals, and made it an easy night's work. Where, let's face it, did he even drop a round in that fight? I don't know. The second fight, he comes out fighting as a southpaw and completely dominates Dererk Chisora, and to the point where it was getting quite hard to watch, and rightfully so. Chisora was pulled out in the later stages of the fight by his corner. Now, do I expect it to be any different? No, I don't expect it to be much different, albeit Tyson Fury has changed his style somewhat. I don't think Dererk Chisora has, as much as what people are making out anyway. I think Chisora, albeit he's probably a bit more dedicated to the game these days, he's still fundamentally the same fighter with the same sort of style that he brings to every fight. And really, unless he throws a punch, and I don't even think you could say unless he throws a punch from the gods, as I was just about to say, because I've seen Tyson Fury get up from much bigger punches, aka Deontay Wilder, which makes me think even if Fury does get caught by one of those big overhand rights from Chisora, I don't think there will be enough in it ever to knock him out cold. It might put him on his back, but you would back Tyson Fury to get up from pretty much any punch that Chisora has in his arsenal. Now, am I going to watch the fight? Probably not, because I believe that it's not going to be a competitive fight. It's actually quite a worrying fight for me, because I have been a Dererk Chisora fan over the years. I do think his best days are behind him, and let's face it, I would say that the Fury fight's probably a worse fight for him than fighting the likes of even someone like Deontay Wilder. Albeit Wilder's a much more devastating puncher. I believe Wilder would clean him out with one shot, and maybe there's an argument to be made that it's a lot better to get knocked out with one punch than it is to take a sustained beating like he did in the second Tyson Fury fight. Repeated jabbing and punches to his face was a mess in it. It's probably the worst I've ever seen Chisora look facially after a fight or during a fight. His face was completely puffed up. It was a real sustained boxing lesson and a sustained beating that was put on him in that fight, as opposed to fights where he's been in wars of attrition with the likes of Dillian Whyte and stuff, and then the second Dillian Whyte fight where he was pretty much winning the fight. He didn't look like he had a lot of damage on him, but unfortunately was caught by Whyte's signature big left hook and knocked out cold. I worry for him in this fight that Tyson Fury is going to put a sustained beating on him. I don't know if Tyson Fury is as much of a puncher as his recent record suggests. I don't think he is. And I'll be shocked if he got Chisora out there with a one-punch KO, albeit coming off of the Dillian Whyte performance. I certainly wouldn't put it past Fury to come away with a decent knockout of a similar type. It's a fight that I've personally got no interest in. There was a lot of talk about the stadium selling out or selling 50,000 tickets in the first day. I've had a quick look online, and let's face it, if they did sell 50,000 tickets, which to be honest on Ticketmaster it looks like there's nowhere near that many gone, because you can get a seat pretty much in any stand in the whole stadium, and it seems there's plenty of them still. And then if you go on the likes of StubHub after that, you'll see that a lot of the ones that have been sold have appeared on StubHub at a marked up value. So maybe it's ticket touts. That being said, it's not a great time of year, and depending on where you live, it's not a great place to go. If you're staying there, the average hotel price in the area is about 300 quid at the minute, because I did take a quick look myself. So it puts it, even if you get a cheap ticket, it puts it at an expensive night of boxing, plus the travelling. Personally, where I live, it's a pain in the arse to get to, and it's a pain in the arse to get home from, especially that time in the evening. That being said, I'm sure a lot of local people will attend, because Chisora's got somewhat of a big following in London, and Tyson Fury is Tyson Fury at the end of the day. I can see why they made the fight. There's a lot of people saying, why don't he fight this guy? Why don't he fight that guy? If you look down the rankings, I think this was probably the best fight for him as a give me fight or a gimme fight, because Chisora is one of the only big names out of that lot which are likely to sell tickets. And I think Tyson Fury probably does deserve, in the interim, a bit of an easier night's work than what he's had in his recent fights. You know, how many times has he hit the floor fighting Wilder? Those were tough fights, grueling fights. And albeit the Dillian Whyte fight turned out to be very one-sided, you would like to think that he put a hard training camp into that fight in preparation for Whyte, not taking him too lightly. I can see why they made the fight. Chisora's a big name. Chisora's might get the buys at box office. I can't see a lot of people buying it, especially if you know the background. It might certainly draw in the casual fan because of Tyson Fury's name, and because of the combination of Fury and Chisora together. That being said, I think if anyone knows a bit about boxing, they'll know that the first two times they fought, when Chisora was a lot closer towards his prime than what he is now, they just weren't competitive contests, and I don't expect this to be any different. Like I say, I've got my own concerns health-wise for Derek Chisora taking this kind of style fight at this stage of his career. I think he's in for a sustained beating and ultimately a stoppage. Whether that's his corner jumping in or the towel getting thrown in by his corner, or whether that's the referee stopping it after he has a wobble and is pretty much losing the fight at the time. I can't see anything other than that. Like I say, even if he throws one of those big right hands and hits Fury clean on the chin, I don't think he's got enough in his punch to keep Fury nailed down for the full 10 seconds. I think I can easily see Fury getting caught, but I just can't see him getting knocked out. I think the closest anyone's got's Wilder, and you see what Wilder does to people like your Robert Helenius and people like that. When he hits them, he puts them down on the ground and they don't get back up. You know, they're down for 10 minutes, not 10 seconds. Anyway, I thought I'd make a quick video on this fight. It's not something I'm overly fussed about, or probably won't even tune in. I certainly won't be buying it on box office. If I do tune in, it will be through the likes of a stream or something, or even the next day. Of course, that's dependent on what's going on in my life at the time. If I have a boring Saturday night, who knows? I'm a bit of a hypocrite when it comes to this sort of stuff, and I might end up buying it anyway. Depending on, I don't think any of the undercards been announced, even if there is an undercard. But if they stick a few really good fights in the undercard, it might sway me to put my hand in my pocket. But at the minute, not particularly looking forward to it. Don't think it's competitive. Think it's a dangerous fight for Chisora. And roll on to me, March, April next year. I want to see Tyson Fury in with Alexander Usyk. Let's see who the number one is of this era. And then whatever happens after that fight, win or lose for Fury, I want to see Fury fight Joshua. These are massive fights. Anyway, enjoy the fight, guys. I'm going Tyson Fury, round 7 to 10 stoppage by a TKO. Enjoy, guys.